Welcome to my studio in Bahia, Brazil. It's not a very elaborate setup. Basically, I've taken over the dining table while my wife, her studio is upstairs. She's a seamstress. So we typically sit in front of the TV to have our meals. So the dining table belongs to me now. It's a very simple setup, as you can see. There's one light hanging from the ceiling. This is how I paint and record my vlogs for this channel. And this is my most recent painting, but I forgot to press the record button. And I was not able to create a lesson out of it, but I'm going to talk about a few things with you. These are my brushes. I've got a wide array of them, but the reality is that I only use these brushes. My favorite brush right now is this Escoda that recently arrived from Barcelona. So I use these. I love this brush to get started with. A little bit of spray to get my paints going. And the paints that I use for this palette, I use Daler Rowney and Van Gogh. Nothing too elaborate, nothing too expensive, because frankly, I can't afford the expensive ones. If somebody gives them to me, that'll be great, but that's what I use at the moment. The most expensive thing I have paint-wise is this kit by Schminke, which is a German brand, and also very expensive, but very, very nice colors. However, as I run out of colors, I replace them with Winsor Newton half pans, as you can see here, and this color is amazing color. You have to use very little color and it really gives you a lot of coverage. In terms of pencils, depending on what I'm sketching, this is my favorite pencil. If I'm doing something bigger, I will go with this graphite stick. If I'm doing some details like faces and things like that, I might use this mechanical pencil. I use salt sometimes on my paints, like you see this effect right here. This came from salt. When you've got a wet surface with paint and you sprinkle some salt, the salt absorbs the paint and you're left with some cool effects that you cannot really get easily with your brushes. The process in watercolor, my process, I'm a self-taught painter. The process is from light to dark. So when I first started this painting, my lightest value was this light lemon color. And then I built upon that. Same thing here. The background was this, and then I put some green, and I purposely let the brush strokes show. For these I used this brush, and I didn't put a lot of water so that the strokes would show. And that's really the process here, from light to dark. And your last color, in my case, that I use is black. If I want, depends on my mood, I use black ink to get a dense black. And sometimes I use black color as well. It just depends on my mood. You don't have to buy a lot of brushes. I've just ended up collecting some of these. I love these brushes for traveling because you can actually fold these brushes. These two I don't use much. This one I use quite a bit. That's the thinnest version of those folding brushes. What else can I tell you? I edit as I paint. So as I'm painting, I'm recording. And after every 2 or 3 minutes, I send the video file to my laptop. And then I edit using CapCut. And so I'm actually painting and editing all at the same time. So in a matter of, let's say, 2 hours, 3 hours, I've not only finished the painting, but I've also edited a tutorial for this channel so that people can see exactly how I arrived at the finished piece. In terms of masking tape, I use a masking tape that is this. It's 24 centimeters. And what I do is I use lint. I first put the tape on something like this, and then I pull it off, and then I lay it down on the paper. And then when I'm actually pressing, I only press on the inside part, so I end up with a good sharp edge. And the rest of it I don't press too much, so that when I'm removing it, it comes off easier. Sometimes in places where I might have pressed too much, you can see here the tape ends up taking some of the paper off. But my preference is this, a nice clean edge and very little paper coming off. If I can find a tape that does not take any paper off, I'll be super happy, but of course that's hard to do. In terms of signing my works, I use this pencil to sign, as you can see right there, and I keep my signature nice and loose. And this pencil is, what is this? This is an HB. And I don't use a sharpener, I use a knife to sharpen this pencil. I might switch to, a darker pencil, maybe like a 6B or an 8B in the future, but it works out pretty well. The clips that I use, because we live near the beach, oftentimes we collect shells, and these shells were actually picked up on the beach nearby, and I thought they'd be kind of cool just to have in the visual. What else can I talk about? Really, that's it. Yeah, you've got an idea on my studio, my workspace. It's World Cup season right now, so I'm watching soccer as I paint, and hopefully this gives you an idea. Oh yeah, there's a plate, there's a hairdryer. If you're a watercolor artist, you have to have a hairdryer, and then you also have to have an extra surface to mix your paints, should you wish to do that. Yeah. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it.